Welcome to the world of firehawks. The world of firehawks is a seed world. The seed world is a genre of speculative biology where animals from Earth are left to evolve on another planet. Some examples are Serina, the world of birds, Project Apollo, and Tales of Kaimere, all of which are linked in the description for you to check out. This world, known as Chorus B to the humans of the future, was an experiment to explore how evolution happens. Some of the main species added were the subject of the project, the whistling kite, the antechinus, the bush rat, common garden skink, and many species of invertebrates and plants. Yes, I know you're here for the animals, but first I have to talk about the abiotic features. The star this planet orbits is known as Esnus Lux, meaning burning light in Latin. It is 0.8 solar masses and is a yellow star just like our Sun. Chorus B has one moon, Saxum Magnum, meaning big rock in Latin. It is 0.01 Earth masses, similar to our moon. As mentioned previously, this planet is known as Chorus B by humans, and it is 1.2 Earth masses, so slightly bigger than Earth, and has the same gravity, so the animals and plants will have a similar maximum size. It has a year length of 300 Earth days, its spinning direction is anti-clockwise, and has an axial tilt of 22 degrees. The atmosphere at the start of the Primocene, which is the first era, is 83.7% nitrogen, 13.3% oxygen, and 0.9% argon, and 2% other gases. I will update the atmosphere at the start of every new period. Now we can get onto the fun part, the first Divergents. In this video, I will talk about 3 new species of whistling kites to evolve, 1 antechinus and 2 beetles, but keep in mind that I will make more videos detailing other animals, so first we will focus on the major developments in whistling kites. In the first few million years, there will be an explosion of kite diversity. Many different new kites will evolve to fill the niches that are vacant from the lack of competition. Let's start off with a herbivorous species of kite. Fructus rostri, or more commonly known as the fruit kite, is a medium-sized kite with many new features evolved for their herbivorous diet. Fruit kites are brown in colour, with tinges of green, so they can blend into their arboreal environment. This creature has a large beak that is very wide but short, so they can crush fruit and nuts from trees they feed off. These birds spend most of their time in trees, but once they eat all the edible plant matter, they will fly away to another tree. Fruit kites weigh around 1.2 kilograms, or at its minimum 500 grams, and they will be around 60 centimeters tall and have a wingspan of 140 centimeters, or 1.4 meters. This animal has an interesting way of using their fire-spreading ability. When a fruit kite comes across a burning plant, it will grab a flaming stick from the fire and it will fly away with it until it finds a tree that has many ripe fruits or nuts. It will then throw the stick onto the tree and the tree will set ablaze. After around 12 hours, the fruit kite will return to the same tree and will feed upon the fallen fruits and nuts dropped from the tree. These birds have discovered that burnt nuts and fruit are much easier to eat and are more nutritious. Once mating season arrives, which is Chorus B's version of spring, male fruit kites will attract as many females as he can, and he will breed with all of them. The females will generally lay 3 eggs, but only 1 chick will survive unless they have a high abundance of food, in which case all 3 chicks will survive. The female will take care of the chicks by herself, and she will generally have 1 clutch a year, which means the population is on a constant rise. In the first few million years, the population of kites will explode. This means there is an untapped food source, eggs and chicks. The thief kite has evolved to specialize in those untapped resources. This species of kite has a sharp hooked beak that developed from an example of neoteny, which is when an organism evolved to keep their traits they had as a baby. This trait evolved from the baby tooth of the young of this species. The thief kite is more terrestrial, with longer legs and a more terrestrial lifestyle. One thing is that it has mainly stopped relying on fire to kill its prey, as it targets chicks and eggs that are generally in trees. This bird has a larger size than its ancestors, being around 1.5 kilograms in weight and being 75 centimeters tall. Their wingspan can be up to 1.2 meters, which is smaller than normal as they fly a lot less, although they are still capable of strong flight. This interesting bird can be a variety of dark colours, so it can blend into the environment it lives in, which are plains, forests, and in rocky areas. Their wings are brighter in colour, varying from grey and light browns. When a male and a female meet each other and decide to mate, the male will hunt for food while the female will care for eggs. The female kite will lay up to 3 eggs, which will generally all survive as they are taken good care of, while the male constantly brings food. They will never run out. Now, the final species of kite for this episode, the bug kite. The bug kite is a smaller, insectivorous species of kite that has evolved for eating specifically insects and arachnids. The most obvious feature when looking at this creature for the first time is that massive beak they have. This beak is used for sticking into holes in bark where insects could be, or poking around in ant nests looking for tasty snacks for it to devour. Another less obvious use for their long beaks is for fighting off predators, like for example the aforementioned thief kite, or defending their young as it can pierce the skin of the other animals. The bug kite's talons are long and sharp. They can grow up to 10 centimeters long. They use these extremely long talons for holding onto and gripping bark. They need to do this to climb up trees and to hold still while sticking their beaks into holes with insects inside of them. This cool kite species uses behavior of spreading fire in an interesting way. Instead of spreading it through dry grass, these birds will shove flaming sticks into bark inhabited by insects or spiders, or into ant hills to entice the ants to bring their brood out of the nest, that the bird will then eat up as they are very nutritious. This bird is much smaller than their whistling kite ancestors, as the insects they eat do not give enough nutrients for them to grow to larger sizes other kites could. Bug kites can grow up to 40 centimeters tall, weighing in at around 600 grams and having a wingspan of 100 centimeters or 1 meter. This bird is generally beige with tints of brown across its body, making it easier for it to blend into most biomes. Bug kites are much more of an R-selective species, meaning they have lots of young and do not exhibit much parental care. So the females will lay around 10 eggs multiple times a year, and the males will not care for their offspring. The female will give the chicks bugs to eat, but overall are not very protective of their young. For example, if a female is threatened, she will leave and not defend her offspring. For our first non-kite species, we have the arboreal Antechinus. This creature is descended from the agile Antechinus, which is a carnivorous Australian marsupial. This creature inhabits the forests of the continent of Lacus Terra. The arboreal Antechinus is not dissimilar from its ancestors in its appearance, but has many different ecological changes. As this marsupial's name implies, it's an arboreal animal, meaning that it lives in trees, and it has developed this lifestyle so it can avoid fires spread by whistling kites of its habitats that would have killed it if it stayed on the ground. Arboreal Antechinus have also adapted to be more generalistic, not just feeding on meat and insects, but plant matter as well. One of the few differences you can see with this animal's appearance is its longer body. Its longer body allows it to climb up trees faster, and it also has longer legs for it to scramble up bark. This creature is around 15 centimeters long, with its tail alone being 5 centimeters of that. The arboreal Antechinus can come in many different colors. Nearly every shade of brown or grey, and sometimes they are black in color, with albinos being very rare. This animal is a marsupial, so it has around a 3-week gestation, after which its offspring will climb into their mother's pouch, where they will feed off her milk until they are ready to leave and find their own food. For our final 2 creatures, we have 2 species of beetle. The first one we will look at is the common burrowing beetle. This beetle is descended from the dark-winged beetle. It's adapted to a fossorial lifestyle, which means it burrows underground. The common burrowing beetle has adapted this more underground lifestyle to avoid the constant grass fires spread by whistling kites and its ancestors as they try to cook them alive and eat them. One of this species' most obvious features is its more quadrupedal stance, with it using its front limbs as shovels for digging its tunnels and digging up roots and small invertebrates that it eats. This animal is a dark black in colour, much like its ancestors, as it does need to blend into its environment, as it is nearly always underground. As this creature is a species of beetle, it doesn't get too big, only around 10 centimeters long, weighing less than 50 grams. When a male and a female burrowing beetle meet, they will either breed, if conditions are correct, or eat each other if the conditions cannot support the female laying eggs. After a male and a female mate, the male will leave as fast as possible, or the female may eat him. The female will lay over 100 eggs into the soil of its burrows, which will later hatch into small larvae that will eat everything it finds until it metamorphosizes into an adult beetle. Our last animal for today is the rock beetle. This interesting arthropod is not actually a beetle, but descended from shield bugs. The rocky beetle, much like the common burrowing beetle, has developed a way to avoid the fires spread by kites in its grasslands habitats of Lapis terra. This bug's adaptation to stop being predated on is its rock-hard shell, which is where it gets its name from. When an individual senses the heat of a nearby grass fire, it will tuck all of its limbs underneath its rock-like exoskeleton. When the fire has passed, the rock beetle will be mostly unharmed, and when the birds search for dead animals in the fire they spread, they will hopefully mistake the insect for a rock. They look very unappetizing, as they are grey, much like a rock, and are very spiky, so it will be hard for them to be eaten whole if they even do get caught. Rock bugs are small, but actually quite large for a shield bug, as they can go up to 10 centimeters and weigh 40 grams. These animals are carnivorous, feeding on smaller arthropods or even dead carcasses of much larger animals like antechinus, bush rats, or even kites that have died in an accessible area. When it's mating season for these bugs, they will swarm on the ground and the males will breed as many times as he can. Once a female is ready to lay her eggs, she will deposit them into the ground, where they will develop into grub-like larvae. Then it will pupate and form into an adult rock beetle. Well, that is all of our first divergence we'll have in the first episode. In future episodes, we will mainly focus on animal life, and at the end of each era in the project's timeline, we'll make a video about plants. If you made it this far, thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the Discord server in the description or comments of the video. Hope to see you next time.